Thank you very much for listening to this week's talk on the Sedra of Yisro. And we are also celebrating the festival of Tu Bishvat on Wednesday night and Thursday. Tu Bishvat, the 15th day of Shabbat, and is commonly referred to as Rosh Hashanah La'ilan, literally the head of the year of the tree, the singular, which is actually it is actually written in the Mishnah as the singular, one tree, one particular tree, and the themes that we can learn from the customs and the ideas behind Tu Bishvat, and that we can apply actually from certain of the events and the lessons that we learn from the Sedra of Yisro, give us an opportunity this year to get new insights from both of these and how they work together. And we're dedicating this learning to the safe and speedy release of all of the remaining hostages in Gaza and the safety and success of all of the soldiers in the IDF as we are facing elevated levels of danger and uncertainty. But as always, it is our faith in Hashem and our ability to tap into the eternal messages of the Torah that will give us the strength that we need, the connection to Hashem that is so vital for all of us, and we can really see how lessons for humanity that we are going to learn in this week's Sedra are something that is just so necessary to be applied and upheld by all people in the world. And this is something that, as we look at the Sedra of Yisro, which is very famous for the Aseret HaDibros, the 10 utterances, the distilled essence, we could say, of the principles of morality that are vital for human beings, their code of life, the way that they interact with other people. And we can see there are various allusions and facts that give us this idea that although Bnei Yisrael accepted the Aseret HaDibros, the content is universal. The content applies to all human beings, and we can learn this from the very name of the Sedra, Yisro. Yisro has the incredible honor of having the Sedra that contains one of the two Sedras in the Chumash that contains the Aseret HaDibros named after him. And he is a Gentile. He was a Gentile. He was a Midianite priest, and he saw the truth of the contents, the essence of the Torah. There is some debate as to whether Yisro came before or after the Aseret HaDibros, but we certainly read about his coming before we read about the Aseret HaDibros. But the bottom line is that this truth and the fact that Hashem is giving us this way of life enshrined in the Aseret HaDibros, this is something for all human beings. And as we look around us and we see what happens when people do not adhere to the contents of the Aseret HaDibros, for example, lo signov, which we translate as do not steal, actually refers to stealing human beings, kidnapping. And we can see that when human beings behave in a way that goes against these values, we have a complete breakdown of society. And this is what we're witnessing in the behavior of our enemies currently. And we could just focus and pray that the values enshrined in the Aseret HaDibros are going to be something that people will come to and understand that this is really a message, a call to all of humanity. And the other illusion, if you like, that this is something that the Aseret HaDibros is not it is of universal application, is the fact that it is given on Har Sinai in the Midbar, on Mount Sinai in the wilderness. We actually do not know exactly where Mount Sinai is today, and the fact that it is in the Har Sinai, in the Midbar of Sinai, in the wilderness of Sinai, that is a desolate, empty place that is a sort of no man's land. And again, this is a message that it is of general application. This is something that everybody can learn from and should live by. And I think that when we read about the momentous events of Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, and we can only imagine the spectacle and the we read last week about the Kriyas Yamsuf, about the splitting of the Reed Sea, and that was a suspension of the laws of nature. But when we have the Aseret HaDibros, there's this idea that the world actually stopped, and there was not a sound, no bird tweeted, and there was absolute stillness, and we saw sounds, and this is the lightning was flashing, and there was smoke and thunder, and the intense drama that was happening then. And we can read it, we can read the various midrashim that describe it, and we can think, oh, okay, that's not something that I see on a daily basis. However, we have an allusion in this week's Sedra that is telling us that we need to keep the experience, keep the Sinai experience close and real and vibrant and living in our daily lives. You know, even though we can think that this is a one-time spectacle. Again, the Medrash tells us that the souls of all unborn people of Bnei Israel were present at Har Sinai. But you know, if you're going about your daily business and it seems a very far away, very distant memory that you're barely managing to hold on to, how can we do this? So we've often mentioned how every single word in the Torah, even those words like this and that, for example, that might not be so exciting, and you think that you couldn't be learning such important lessons from them. We have precisely such a situation in this week's Sedra, and that is Shemos chapter 19, and we have verse 1, and it talks about so this is going to be the build up towards the giving of the Aseret HaDibros. And it says, by Chodesh Hashlishi, in the third month, L'seis B'nei Yisrael Me'eretz Mitzrayim, of the exodus of the children of Israel from the land of Egypt, Bayom Hazeh, on this day, Ba'u Midbar Sinai, they arrived at the wilderness of Sinai. And Rashi mentions Bayom Hazeh, Lo hayat tzorich lichtov ela bayom hahu. It should have actually written on that day, Mahu bayom hazeh, because when we say this day, when we read it, we're talking about today. Sheyiyu divrei Torah chadoshim alecha keilu hayom nitno, and that is to tell us that all the words of Torah should be as new to us as if they were given today. And this is, again, this word hazeh instead of hayom hahu, bayom hahu, and this is giving us such a deep message, and really demanding of us to keep these levels of freshness, to keep these levels of enthusiasm. When you get something new in your life and it's pristine and you're excited about it, and you have an extra spring in your step, and everything looks more beautiful. Well, this is how we are meant to be feeling about the greatest gift that was ever given to mankind. And it's on a daily basis. And we have a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos in chapter 6, Mishnah 1. And this is something Mishnah 2, chapter 6, Mishnah 2. And this is again something that that repeats this idea of a daily experience of Mount Sinai. Omar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, Rabbi Yoshua the son of Levi said, B'chol yom v'yom bas kol yotzeitz mahar chorev u'machreses ve'omeres. And every single day, a heavenly voice comes from the Mount Horeb, and that is also another name for Mount Sinai. Umachrezes, and declares Omeres and says, Oy lohem labrios me'elbono shel Torah. Woe to the creations because the Torah, because of the way Torah is not being properly respected and observed. And this is really giving us the more serious perspective of the failure to value Torah, to live to respect the Torah, to let the Torah really provide the framework and the pathway for our lives. This is something, this is a woe, this is a tragedy for an individual, a tragedy for a community, for the whole of the world. And this is something that happens on a daily basis. And it is, I think, this concept of keeping the Torah fresh as if it is given on this day. I think that we can look at the festival of Tu Bishvat and we can get encouragement. We can look at the beauty of Hashem's the world that Hashem has created, the nature and the trees, the cycle, the yearly cycle. And after a long harsh winter, the signal, that promise of spring that is associated with Tu Bishvat. And I think that it is having that, learning about Tu Bishvat and understanding that the tree that we are celebrating on Tu Bishvat, the fruit of the tree, is reminiscent of the Torah that is compared to a tree. We talk about Eitz Chaim Hi Lamachazikin Bo. It is a living tree to those that hold onto it tightly. And really, it is when you hold onto something tight, then you are putting effort into it. You are working on a relationship, on standards of behavior, whatever it is, however you're incorporating into your life. You're not just picking it off a tree, to use that metaphor, but you are doing it, but you are applying yourself. You are really asking for the heavenly assistance. And I think that we can combine that, the enthusiasm and freshness this year that we are celebrating Tu B'Shvat just before Yisro, just before reading about the Aseret HaDibros, and we can tap in to that to the beauty and to the fruitful messages, and see the hand of Hashem in the natural world, see the hand of Hashem in the code of laws that we have from the Aseret HaDibros, that are eternal, that are will be applicable to human beings at every point in past, present, and future. And really, when we see what happens when people fail to observe these precepts, and we see the evil and the breakdown of society and life that happens, this is something that really should give us the extra encouragement to hold on even more tightly. And please God, in this way, we will see the salvation of our people. We will see that the values of the Torah, that the good and the messages that come through, that are really applicable to all of humanity and will benefit all of humanity. Please God, this time should come speedily, that everybody is able to see this with their own eyes, see the sounds and hear the sights, and understand that we can together make this world a really beautiful place for Hashem to be proud of all of us, and the miracle of the creation of the world. Thank you very much for listening, and wishing everybody Shabbat Shalom.